What's going on? Hope everybody's doing all right out there. Uh, this is one of those, impromptu shows. Normally we do a little pre-recorded thing for you guys, but this time we're doing something live. As you can see, I'm here. My man John, unfortunately, he can't make it, so I'm holding it down for JON. We still out here, still Knick fans in the building. Um, Hopefully you guys are doing okay out there. I know there's a lot going on. People are stressed out right now because of our New York Knicks and what's been going on with them. There's been a lot of losing, a lot of frustration. The team is in uproar. The management is starting to chirp. Dolan is on the prowl. What's going to happen next, guys? I don't know, but I just hope it doesn't go back to what we used to in the past. We don't need to see some of that craziness that we used to this Knick franchise putting out there, man. Everything has been kind of calm. There's been calm seas. We've been good. No, my stress level is starting to go up a little bit, but for the most part, it's been good this season. But if Dolan starts getting involved and the chirping starts happening inside the locker room and coming out to the media, and we get back to these old bad Knick habits. I don't want to even imagine, man. I don't want to see that. So hopefully everything is good to go, and we stay on the good path, so to speak. But before we get into the show, let me just give a shout out to our sponsor. Um, Tonight's sponsor, as always, is Urban Cowboy. Sponsored by Urban Cowboy, designed for the live experience, and Urban Cowboy clothing uniquely designed for every urban trendsetter, both young and mature. So definitely go take a look at Urban Cowboy stuff. They got some really cool stuff that you can wear on all types of different outings and different occasions, and definitely show your support. Tell them Still Knick fans sent you. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. This was a tough week. We're not going to go into the whole prediction stuff, kind of like we normally do each week, because I don't feel it's right, man. I can't do that without my man John here. You know what I mean? Like, that don't seem right. But I will tell you, just if you were keeping score out there, I did pick the Knicks to win 3 games, and the Knicks did lose all 3 games. So, needless to say, I was not going to have a good week. Just throwing that out there for transparency and stuff. But yeah, it didn't turn out to be what we would have liked it to be. The Knicks didn't have it for whatever reason. They came out with gusto. They were fighting early. And then they proved that they can hang with teams this past week, but it didn't seem like they had enough fight in them to kind of get them over the hump. But we saw some moments where it looked like the Knicks of old, or at least should I say of last year, and that kind of started against the Brooklyn Nets. They went out there and they went to the Barclays Center, and it felt like a home game. You know how it is when the Knicks go to Brooklyn. Come on, man. This is a New York City still. It's New York town. Regardless of how good Brooklyn is, the Knicks have a lot of fans in that building, and it shows. I mean, from what I hear, the Brooklyn Nets pump a lot of sound into that building for that team, because the fans they don't get up as much as they would like them to. But the fans were going crazy in there. It was a great game. It was really fun to watch. It was basically trading back and forth. The Knicks they came out hot. That rivalry is always there. They came out with the energy we needed them to come out with. And what was really good at a certain point in this game, I don't know if that was the game plan from the beginning, but Julius Randle came out and said that he, is going to take the ball into the paint and be aggressive with it, which we haven't been seeing from Julius up until that point. Up until that point, the games that we were witnessing was Julius Randle taking a lot of 3-point shots and long twos, He was not going in the paint like we thought he could, because the thing about Julius is he's a really good basketball player. He can do everything on the court. Um, dunk, shoot from inside, from outside, and he's got a pretty decent handle. It was poor in the past, but he's worked on it the past 2 years and got it to be a lot better. Of course, he still can't dribble in traffic. He will get stripped, but he's worked on it a lot, and it's become a lot better. So the fact that he can do everything, and we've only seen limited offense from him, is basically bad for the team, and it's bad for Julius, because Julius is a much better player than that. So the fact that he started to go inside and use some of that big frame, I mean, he's 250, 260 pounds, whatever it is. This guy's a big guy, man, and he's strong, and so sometimes you gotta impose your will and take advantage of whatever mismatches you have, because there's not a lot of guys that can stand toe to toe with Julius. Um, I think that what was also nice about this game was the fact that Rose was doing his thing. He was hot. He was making some really good baskets for us. You saw some highlights from Obi. Quickly was out there doing his thing. Mitch was playing pretty good for the most part too, and obviously Burks contributed with some good minutes and some good points. But one of the things you did see in this game at certain points was that the Knicks were a little stagnant on offense. At certain points, the Knicks were standing around, and they weren't really doing anything. They were kind of looking for someone to I guess tell them what to do. And if they didn't know what to do, they just passed the ball to Julius and let Julius do something. And that's kind of where we run into problems. Um, and you know, let me just give a quick salute to Miss Geraldine McIver. Thank you for tuning in. And Geraldine says she heard Dolan is not happy about Kimba. Yeah. I could see that. See, the thing about Dolan is that he's the type of owner that he's been hands off lately, right? Because everything has been good. We've had some problems. Everything hasn't worked out perfectly, but he's kind of stayed back. But now all of a sudden, ever since the benching of Kimba, for whatever reason, there's different people in the media that are asking questions of other entities, like asking Kenny Smith what he thinks about Kimba, and him saying that we don't, the Knicks don't know how to manage Kimba. Basically, that he shouldn't be benched. That we're handling the situation poorly. And then you got Kimba's press conference or interview after practice was tough to watch, because the guy was out there and they were asking him every single question they could about being benched and how it made him feel. Like, what do you expect the guy to say? I mean, he's been benched. Like, you they could ask him stuff about the games, about how we've been playing, about what it looks like on the court, but no, they want to focus on the fact that he's been benched. So of course he's going to be, he's going to talk about how he feels about it. Of course he doesn't feel good. He feels a little blindsided by it, and he handled it. He handled it in the most professional of manners. Like, Kimba is a consummate professional. I'm going to give him kudos for that, because he's taking it like a professional. He knows that him acting accordingly is something that he's teaching the younger guys on the team. He even said it. He said as much. He said, "Listen, I have to deal with this as a professional, and this is going to help show the guys in the team how you should handle these type of situations." I thought, Kimba, listen, say what you will about Kimba, man. He's a really good dude. And it sucks that all this stuff is happening to him and it's affecting the team. And then people, that's the thing about when you're losing. When you're losing, you point the finger at everything. Do I think the reason, the fact that Kimba's benched is the reason why we're losing? No, I don't. I don't think that's the reason. I think the reason we're losing is because we're playing poor defense. We're not closing out properly. We're not showing full effort. and everybody who is on the court for the opposing team is getting good looks at the basket, and they're getting shots off, and they're hitting in our faces. Like, it's bad defense. And then on the flip side, on the offensive side, there's too much stagnation out there. And it's not necessarily Julius Randle's fault. It's not all about ISO ball. Julius has been ISOing lately when nothing is happening on the court, when there's nobody doing anything, and we need to put up a shot, and the shot clock is going down. It's like 8 or 7 seconds on the clock, and we got to get something going. They dump the ball off to Julius, and now Julius has got to do something. And I'm not saying that happens all the time, but that's been happening a lot. So I'm not going to blame Julius for everything that's going on with his offense right now. Remember, this is a whole, it's 22 games or so of play. There's been different spurts where Julius may have been the cause. Right now, I don't see Julius as the problem. I see Julius as one of the solutions, but he needs more help. And the Knicks as an organization, as a, front office, whoever's got to make a move, they've got to do something to put pieces around Julius that can help this team get back to winning ways. And I think it probably starts with the defense. You bring some guys in here, 1 or 2 maybe, I don't know, that can play some good, strong defense and really go after it. And then that gets contagious. You start seeing guys out there working hard. Imagine seeing some young or doesn't have to be super young, but somebody who's been in the league, has a good idea of how to play basketball, but is hustling, that gets after it, that shows you that energy. Then you got guys like Quickly on the team still. You still got Obi, who's showing you max energy, and Burks, who is pretty energetic out there. Like, you got those guys, and you start watching these guys, and Rose too. You start watching these guys play, and it can't help but spill to the rest of the team. When you got to have enough, though, and I don't think we have enough right now. And then, of course, part of that has to do with we need defensive guys, man. We can't do it all alone. Should I say Julius is not the best defender, so he needs help. And if you want him to carry the load on offense, he's definitely going to need somebody to help him out from somewhere else. That's just the bottom line. Geraldine McIver says it's Tibbs. The players are not playing for him anymore. He's lost the locker room. You can blame Kimba. He threw RJ under the bus, and who's next? Yeah. The one thing about the RJ thing, I like the fact that he came out and said it. No, I don't know if he was necessarily. See, I have a feeling that he threw RJ under the bus because he knew RJ could take it. I think he was talking about not just RJ. I think he was talking about the whole team, their work ethic and how they're coming to practices and what they're doing, and the extra work that they're not putting in. But I think Tibbs and RJ have a good relationship, and I think he knows that RJ is a stoic type of guy who can take the pressure, who can take not being able to. He can take criticism, should I say. It's not going to affect his game too much. He might not like it, like most players won't like it, but he uses it. He uses it to fuel himself. And listen, Tibbs would know that because he coaches the guy in practice. He sees what his highs and what his lows are. So maybe that's something. Maybe that's something that RJ will use. Maybe he'll take it as a positive. And maybe other guys on the team will see it and say, damn, he could have called all of us out, but he just called out RJ. Let's just do what we got to do so he don't point the finger at us. I don't know. But I hear you, Geraldine. I don't like everything that's going on right now, but I think Tibbs just feels like at some point he's got to say something because he's the coach. Be civilized. Salute, man. Salute. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. And that's pretty much what it is. But the Knicks wound up losing to the Nets in tough fashion. It was like in the worst fashion possible. We went out there, we played them tough, but they had no answer for Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant is like, if he's not the first, he's the second best scorer in the league. So it's hard to have an answer for him. I think the Knicks did a pretty good job overall against the rest of the team. However, when it came down to it, when you got into the fourth quarter, they're basically just trading baskets. They're going back and forth. Um, and Randall played well down the stretch, except for, I think this was the game he had that technical foul that it definitely wasn't good. It didn't help us. And this was also a game where he was just pissed off with the refs. Everything that was happening, he was yelling at the refs. I mean, he was demonstrative, like doing all types of motions and stuff. And you could easily get a technical foul from the refs when they see you acting out. I don't know, man. I just think that he's gotta figure out how to put his best foot forward and realize that he's the example for the team. Like, we need him. We can't have this guy getting into foul trouble or getting technical fouls, possibly getting thrown out of games. But also, we need him for his leadership. Julius Randle still needs to learn how to become a leader on this team. And he's probably not all the way there yet, but there's time. So, we'll see what happens. One good thing that happened in this game was the Knicks were down. See, this is one of those games where, you think the Knicks have a shot and then stuff starts to fall apart. Technical fouls and other things start to happen. And Brooklyn was up by 3 points with 17 seconds left. And in my mind, I'm already thinking the game's over. But Tibbs called a really good play out of the timeout. It was a curl play to Fournier, and Fournier hit the three with 17 seconds, or less seconds. I guess there was 8 seconds left or something like that. He hit the three to tie the game, which was incredible because the Knicks don't do a lot of last second stuff that works, unless it's a tie game and they have a shot to win it. But when it comes to being behind, Knicks are probably one of the poorer teams in history of doing stuff in the last couple seconds. But it was a good play. You got to give Tibbs credit for calling that play and Fournier for coming off the bench and knocking it down, because he wasn't even in the game at the time, but he came in and knocked it down. So kudos to him. I'm going to say kudos to the Knicks overall for putting together a good effort against the Brooklyn Nets. Just came out on the losing end of the stick, and you take that. Sometimes it's going to be like that. You play a good game for the most part and still lose. Just have to chalk it up. That's the NBA. But then, after this game was over, you figure the Knicks got the Chicago Bulls up next, right? And we played the Chicago Bulls this was going to be the third time. The first 2 times, and I'm just going to say this again, reiterate it. I was incorrect last time. On the NBA report, I had mentioned that we had won 2 of those games, so we were 2-0. That was wrong. We had split the series. It was 1-1. So this was the third game of that series in the Garden against the Bulls, and you feel good about it because the Knicks match up against the Bulls pretty well. But it shows you the difference between their team, who are playing well together and they don't have the issues that we have or some of the other teams have around the league. They're not infighting. They're not having chemistry issues. They're just out there playing ball. And this is kind of reminds you of how the Knicks were playing in the beginning of the season when we got up to that 5-1 start. We just were playing basketball, having fun, not stressing. Now everything is stressed. Everybody's pressing. They don't know what to do with themselves. Everything is an issue. And then you're wondering who's going to get thrown under the bus next. It's like a microscope right now. And these Knicks players they're definitely struggling with it. So another thing that happened in this game that was a bad sign was Taj Gibson got thrown out in the first quarter for arguing about foul from the refs. That was a bad sign, right out the gate. Right out the gate, that was bad. So, that was one of those things that we have to deal with and say, as Taj, I was actually kind of surprised at Taj. I was like, how could this guy, and don't get me wrong, I understand it's everybody's frustrated with the refs, but Taj hasn't been there. He's been hurt or been out for whatever reason, and we haven't had his presence out there. And to me, Taj is a really good player who, when he's out there playing well, we're playing well. And the fact that he got thrown out early, That was a bad look, man. And I bet this is how funny things are. I bet that Julius was like, "Yo, what are you doing, Taj?" That's how funny Julius is. He don't always see what's going on with him, but he can see it when it happens with another player. Um, Be Civilized said, we played the Nets, whom have two superstars, versus our none, and still was in the game down the stretch. New York Knicks shows flashes of really being a good team. Yeah, yeah, we do. And that's the thing about this team. Like, they show the flashes, they can do it. But for whatever reason, there's something missing that's not making it easy for us to do it consistently. Like, because I honestly, I used to think that um, this team would be able to just kind of rekindle some of that stuff that we saw last year, and just pick it up and go from there. I know there's been a couple personnel issues, just two personnel issues, and everything has changed. Um, to me, that points the finger at leadership. We don't have enough leadership on the team, and we don't have a floor general. We definitely need a floor general who can go out there and orchestrate what we need for the offense to do. Make guys comfortable out there, make them feel like they're going to be able to get the ball in different spots, and also someone who can command the respect of Julius, even if it's a young. See, that's the thing. I think the misconception is people think it's got to be some savvy veteran that comes in here that can command respect from Julius and get the ball out of his hands. I don't think that's the case. I think you just need a guy who can ball. If you got a point guard out there who can do their thing and can facilitate and get a bucket here and there, Julius will have to respect that. And he's going to, because you're doing it. It's showing improvement. You can't just say, go, day one, hey, Julius, I want the ball. Give me the ball. No, you got to show something first. That is true. But I think any guy who knows how to play basketball, and can show they can get a bucket, and also that they can pass the ball. You got to be a willing passer. Julius will respect that. He'll give you the ball because he doesn't know. In his mind, he's like, "Oh, this guy passes the ball. I'll get it back." He doesn't know when he's going to get it back, if he's going to get it back that play or the next play, but he trusts that he will get his opportunities. That's what Julius respects. We don't have that right now because it just we got a lot of scoring guys on our team. We got a lot of all combo guards. It's a team full of combo guards. Um, I don't know who our true point guard is. I still don't think it's not. To me, it's not quickly. Quickly is still a combo guard to me, but I expect that he will be able to learn more and become even better as time goes on, and eventually, what's going to happen is Deuce at some point in the season, maybe not anytime soon, but Deuce at some point is going to get a shot to make some noise on this team. We'll see what happens, but getting back to this Bull game, the Knicks just didn't have an answer on the defensive end to stop anything the Bulls were doing. And they were lucky to keep the game semi-close because they went on a third quarter run. For the most part, this game, the Bulls were winning, convincingly. And the Knicks went on a third quarter run to get the game close and get back into it. And it kind of carried over into the fourth quarter where they were playing really good basketball. However, they had to expend, this is one of the things that John always likes to point to, they had to expend so much energy just to get back into the game that on the defensive end, you see there's points where they're leaving guys wide open. They left Lonzo Ball open for 200,000 threes. Yeah, I think it was, okay, maybe the number was a little high. Maybe it was 189,000 threes. But he missed so many of them that it allowed the Knicks to stay in the game. But we got lucky. In another scenario, if somebody else was left open for those threes, they could have ran away with the game. It was bad. It was bad. And then in the end, when we were trying to fight to kind of get over the hump and take the lead, we just couldn't stop the Bulls because they have good shooters who know how to hit their shots down the stretch, and they know how to hit their free throws, which we are still a poor free throw hitting poor free throw shooting team. There you go. And let me see here. So, I mean, that's pretty much it for the Bulls game, guys. We lost another one. So that's 0-2 for the week so far, right? Then we got one more game to cover. Hold, hold on one second, guys. I'm getting some breaking news. I think we got a special guest who's about to come in. See if we can get him in here real quick. Oh, in the building! Let's go. What's going on, buddy? Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm here. I made it just in the nick of time.
Hey, man. I was
No pun
thinking I was gonna have to
intended.
do this
Just in the
without
nick
you.
of time.
Yeah, no, I see what you did there.
Shout out
Man,
to
good to see you,
JLS.
brother.
Oh man, thanks for
Good to
having
see
me,
you,
man.
brother.
Again, it's a story of my life, doing a lot of traveling with family, But I'm here.
Mhm.
I made it my business. I got here, went through all the travels, through the rain, through the hail, through this, whatever. I made it.
You did it, man. And that's all that matters. The point is you're here. You're here
That's right.
for the still Knicks fans out there who they want to talk about these Knicks and what's going on. So it was a tough
Yes,
week.
let's talk
A tough week.
about it. It's been a tough week, absolutely tough week.
So I
Where were
mean,
you at? Where you at?
I already went over the Nets and Chicago, but real quick, we can backtrack. What's your take on the Nets game? And just to I can mention it now since John is here. And this game we witnessed it. We watched it together. We weren't in the building, but we were at the NBK watch party, so we were there. Right. Hyped.
Ruin them on. That's right. Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it in our post game with NBK. A lot had to do with trying to, gain momentum and come back from a deficit, which is very difficult to do against a team like that. And I think, our biggest hurdles has been, and for the most part all year, is getting into our offensive sets. We struggle. We struggle getting into offensive sets and playing within rhythm. And for that, and for not only that, but for that primarily is one of the reasons why we lost that game, because we got it to a point where we had an opportunity to win. And down the stretch, guys were fatigued and they were making bonehead decisions and bonehead plays. And that's what comes with that. When you're trying to, trying to build momentum and coming from down when you're losing a game and you're trying to gain momentum, you can't miss big shots, free throws down the stretch, open jump shots, then big turnovers. That just is going to cost you at the end. So, again, we keep struggling. We'll have one or two quarters that we're like non-existent. I think this Brooklyn game was the third quarter, right? Was this one the third quarter where we had? Yeah. So, yeah, that's been our Achilles heel. We can't play 4 quarters of, consistent basketball.
Yeah, that third quarter is our make or break quarter. Either we play really good in it or we play really bad in it. It's all that third quarter.
Sure is.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that was a tough one and a tough loss. And then we went into that bowl game, and it was kind of same old stuff.
Yeah, and that one was a different quarter. Was that the first quarter for us? That one?
No. It was the
Bulls
third quarter
game
again.
It was the third quarter again.
Yeah, third quarter again. But this time we played well in the third quarter to get us back in the game.
Right. To get us back into the game. But we were losing in the first quarter, right? I think that first quarter we shot poorly. So it's like we're coming from deficits, is what I'm saying. It's like we can't find a rhythm to stay within the game to get folks enough rest to be prepared and ready to go in the fourth quarter. And again, it starts with offensive rhythm. We don't have it. We're not consistent in it. We don't get into sets early enough. And you're starting to see, what most teams are actually, how teams are defending us now. Like they'll put somebody to press up on us and, take the ball away from, Randall, to start the set, and or they'll play in between guys, so people are kind of caught off guard while they're trying to run a set, and then their backs against the wall, and you have Randall with the ball, with the possession, not really making a decision and having to shoot with very little on the shot clock, or make a decision to pass, which forces someone else to make a poor shot. So it's been like that in this entire year. And what are we,
Yes,
23
yes, it
games in?
has.
We're about 23 games in now,
Yeah,
24
about
games in.
23 now.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I was talking about how we we just don't like we can't necessarily get back to what we had last year without a change being made. Like I feel that way now. At one point, I thought maybe the Knicks could get it back, and we can go back to kind of playing the way
Mm-hmm.
we played last year, and we saw some of that in spurts versus the Bulls, and we saw more of it versus the Nets. But the issue is now I feel like we don't have enough to get us over the hump. We can't play all
Right.
the way where we need to play with the personnel we got. Like it looks like they can only give you so much, but they're
Mm-hmm.
missing something. And then Be Civilized said in the chat that we're missing a closer. We do look like we're missing a closer because
It's absolutely
Randall
true.
Randall is what he is, but
Yeah.
he has his own issues when it comes to free throws and stuff down the stretch. RJ is
Right.
not the greatest when it comes to free throws down the stretch. I mean, our team is just not a good free throw shooting team. It's crazy when
Right.
you think about it. When you got Quickly as one of our best free throw shooters, fine, we knew that. What we did not expect is that Obi has been lights out from the free throw line lately. I don't know if he's been working on it behind closed doors, but he's been really good.
Right.
He can't shoot from three, but he can hit his free throws. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
we're missing
Listen,
something, man. We're missing
shout
something.
outs to Be Civilized, man. I mean, I was listening to you all kind of on uh, Blorange Tears, kind of speaking earlier today. I was in and out while I was at work, and there was some interesting takes, man. I mean, I think everybody has really strong opinions and, yeah, and good takes, and a good understanding of why the Knicks are struggling and what could potentially get them out of these struggles. Again, it's really upon Leon Rose and the front office to make the right decisions moving forward. To be honest, I mean, we're coming up on trade deadline, or trade opening till trades can actually happen. So we'll see what comes up, man. I mean, the rumor mills are going crazy right now. So where there's talks of Damian Lillard, there's talks of Simmons, there's talks of other players like a Westbrook move. It's like so much going on right now, and a lot of it is including Kemba in the move, which is surprising to me because I would have thought that his stock has dropped. But again, you
Right.
don't really have assets like that. I mean, if you really look at it, do do the Knicks really have assets that other teams really want? And that's is within question right now, right? So the only folks that really know that is the front office, because they're the ones making the phone calls, they're the ones receiving phone calls for guys. Um, so we just sort of got to wait and see. I mean, I wish we could pull off a blockbuster. I really do. Do I see that happening? I really don't. I really don't. I think we're stuck with what we have. If we make any moves, it's going to be a minor piece, and we got to hope that that minor piece gels in a way that Kemba hasn't gelled with us, or any other player for the most part. You know what I mean? So um, I don't know, man. What are your take on how these folks? What is your takes on the way these folks are like Knicks fans? How folks are talking, and what they believe it to be?
Well, I mean, personally, I'm looking at it like I'm actually kind of surprised, to be honest with you. I don't know why there's this sudden. I mean, I know why, but I just think it's misplaced. This sudden uproar for Kimba and how he's being treated. Whereas someone like Blake Griffin is getting the same treatment. I don't see people talking about Blake, but for whatever reason,
Right.
they're not happy with how the Knicks are treating Kimba. Now, don't get me wrong. I get it. And I think it has to do more with Kimba's character and who he is as a person. I mean, obviously he's balled out and had great a great career. You know, he's done a lot of good things. I just don't know if people are really looking at the reasoning behind what happened, the way it happened. Um,
I think it's part to
I
do
don't know.
because he's a native New Yorker. He's a
It could
native
be.
son.
It could be.
I think that's
It
part
could
of
be.
the issue is like, and then he came out in a press conference and they asked him a question if he was, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it was something about was he surprised or was he caught off guard or something like that. And of course, and he said yes. And I think any player
Yeah.
in his position would have been caught by surprise by that move. Not
Right.
to say that it wasn't it, no player is going to be expecting to lose their spot, especially if they were just brought in by an organization to help with scoring. And it just didn't work out, man. I mean, look, I mean, the numbers speak for itself right now. Do I personally feel like he could still pack a punch? I absolutely do. I was hoping that they waited 30 games. They pushed for 20. I'm not mad at that move. But I understand the reasoning. I would have preferred to see him play a bench role and maybe start a
Me too.
quickly or maybe start a Rose. Again, don't know. I really don't know. Again, I'm just a fan, so I'm looking at this and saying, could they have done more? Possibly, but again, you're at a detriment on the defensive end because of the lack of size that the bench has. Not to mention Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker is,
Hmm.
is but 6 feet, and maybe 190 pounds, and he's in great shape, but these guys are, he's not going to have the best matchup defensively, and so we'll see how that goes
Right.
as we continue the
Well,
season. He may get another shot.
I still think he might, but you never know. The Knicks may say we got to cut bait and get him out of here as soon as possible, so that they can avoid more of this bad media and how that's going to translate to the team. But
Right.
um, uh, Geraldine in the chat said that it doesn't matter who we trade for as long as Tibbs is here.
Okay.
you know,
I,
there's still
I,
going to be
I'm
similar problems.
Yeah. It seems like Geraldine is offended by the way Tibbs is coaching the team. And by all means, I mean, everyone has their own opinion on the way Tibbs coaches his teams. We all knew this going in. He's going to do things his way. And basically, he's a culture fit. Basically, what he wants to do is build a culture that that he enjoys, watching, that he enjoys teaching, and he enjoys coaching. He's not going to do anything different than he's done in the past. I mean, if anyone thought he was going to like reimagine or reinvent himself, I mean, come on. We've seen him in other teams. He hasn't done so, and he's not going to do so with the Knicks. But I do think that Tibbs is the right coach for this team, because he's a defensive minded coach. He's defense first, offense is secondary to the defense. And you just got to have the right pieces. Now, if we made a blockbuster trade, which I don't think we will do, to move Ben Simmons here, this team would look a lot different defensively. A whole lot different defensively. And depending on whomever you give away, you're gonna upgrade defensively with a Ben Simmons on your team. If you don't make a
Right.
move for a Ben Simmons and you go for a Lillard, the team is not gonna look that much different because defensively he's still a liability. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's going to score a lot more. He's going to be a better facilitator, absolutely, because that's what Damian Lillard does. But defensively, you're not going to get any better. So you really have to. They really have to figure out what are the right pieces to put in place to make sure that we manufacture a well-organized team or manufacture a playoff contending team year in and year out. Right now, it doesn't look like we have it. Right now, 23 games in, we look like a 500 team. That's what we look like, and we're playing like it too. We're getting smoked by
Yeah.
certain teams. Smoked.
Yep. And one of those teams is the Denver Nuggets.
Definitely.
they put a whooping on us, man. And you know
Yeah,
the
man.
craziest part about that, once again, it happened in the Garden, which sucks. It's really bad when you lose like that on your home court. It's bad to lose, period. But then to lose like that on
Right.
your home court, and
Right.
they didn't even have some of their best players. I mean, come
Right.
on, man. Like you can't. At one point, they were leading by 30 points. I mean, come on, man.
But
What are we doing here?
they're a good team. They're a good team. They play
Well,
defense
are
and
they
they got good
though?
strategy. They are, man. I
Yeah,
mean,
but are they
you look
though?
at
When they
their
came
record is
into
deceiving. That record
it
is
is,
deceiving because I think they're playing
and
better
maybe you know what?
competition too.
That's true. And maybe I could say the same thing. You know, I can't be a homer. You know, if our record was deceiving for a certain point, then obviously Denver's record could be deceiving too. Because we always kept saying
Right.
we thought we were a better team than we were, what it looked like. So that's true.
Right. Right.
Um, you know,
It's true.
salute to my man Boost Mobile in the chat. Appreciate you, brother, as
Yes,
always.
sir.
Um, and I do wanna, I'll shout you out, White Falcon, because I know how you do, White Falcon. But I'm gonna shout you out, White Falcon. Salute to you, brother. And yes, I know the Knicks need to trade for PG-13. I get it. But you
Yeah.
know, look, if
Wi-Fi
we can
kid
get
feels like
PG-13,
he's the only one that's going to be able to make that
right?
move.
If we could get PG-13 here without trading Julius Randle, then I would want to do it.
That's not
But I
going to
know you
happen.
want Randall in the trade. I know. So and then it would take Randall to get him here. So
It would.
it is
It
what it
would.
is, man. It
It would.
would.
You get. I mean,
Oh,
not you. You'll get a better player overall now because George is the better player today. But can you build? Can you add additions or have continue to keep? Can you keep enough guys to make a formidable team this year? I don't think so. Not for George. And plus, George is a hometown guy over there in the Clippers. He's an LA guy, so it's going to take a lot to get him over here. Not to mention, he probably got most likely he got a no trade clause. So, but I'm with you. I
yeah,
like PG-13. He's a solid player. He is what we need, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
yeah. It's that's a tough one. Geraldine says we all have our opinions. He didn't win anything in Minnesota with a better roster. What is he going to do here? That's tough. And you know what, Geraldine? I
He's
gotta
going to be a
say,
playoff
listen,
guy.
it may come down. Yeah, it may come down to that we realize he's not the right person to take
Right.
us where we want to go. I still think he's the right person for right now to get us
Mhm.
to playing consistent basketball when he has the right pieces around. Like, 'cause having
Right.
a defensive identity is huge. And if at least we
Right.
have those principles and we keep players that buy into that, you know, another
Hmm.
coach can come in and take those same principles and say, okay, I saw what you guys were doing on defense. Let's continue to
Right.
do similar things, right? And I'll bring the offense or whatever, and then we'll change that up. Like, so it's good to
Yeah,
have him here
that's.
now,
Hmm.
right?
No,
No,
go
no,
ahead.
I'm just saying
Go
it's
ahead.
good to have him here now, but I don't
Hmm.
know if he's going to lead us all the way. You know what I mean? But it's good to have
Right.
him here now.
Yeah, I was going to say that that's the Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr effect, right? Mark Jackson got
Right,
him there
right,
often, and then they moved on. They put in Steve Kerr. The same could happen with us, where Tibbs builds an starts to help build an organization that is relying on defense and is held accountable, and that comes to practice and does all the things right, right, and he's holding his players accountable. The front office is also doing the same, and then 3, 4 years from now, we decide, or 4 years from now, because I think he has a 4-year contract or 5-year contract. After his year is done, we move on from him and we hire a Mark Jackson or a Chauncey Billups if he's able to not keep his job with the Blazers. Like somebody with some IQ, basketball IQ, who can take over and be a defensive minded coach, but also help us along the way on the offensive side as well. Because I think that's what's going to end up becoming an Achilles heel for us. And I think you're right, Geraldine. But for right now, I'm right with you, Ron. He's the right person for the job right now because we needed a culture shift. And it takes a strong personality to make that culture shift happen in New York City.
Yeah, no, I agree. And guys, I know it's bad out here. It looks bad. We lost three in a row.
Yeah.
But you know what? It could be worse. What if
Mhm.
what if Tibbs wasn't here right now and we were still
Oh,
okay? We wouldn't still be
we'll
under
be
him. But
bottom
what if
dwellers.
Fizdale was here? You know,
We were bottom dwellers, man. There's no question that Tibbs has them playing better than they would have been playing, right? Like there's without question, because there's one thing he is doing. Making sure each player is prepared and understands the playbook, right? They may not run everything the right way, right? But that also comes within time, right? When you're playing with new teammates, you have to find your rhythm. You have to find chemistry, and if you don't have that chemistry on the court, it's easier said than done, right? So they have to build that, and if they aren't able to build that, then they have to make wholesale changes. That's just the reality. If Fournier isn't able to, get into his offense with Randall on the court, one or the two of them have to go. It's just what it is, and we have to go in a
that's a
different
fact.
direction. Yeah, it's just what it is. I mean,
Yeah,
we
I'm
can't
with you on
be
that.
we can't be locked in on players, right? Like the reality is that this is a what have you done for me lately type of league, right? And so
It
those that
is.
do get paid, and those that don't find themselves tradable. They find themselves on the
That's a
trading
fact.
block. So it's just really what it is. I mean, I want to see a Knicks team that's competitive. That's the bottom line. I don't expect us to make the championship anytime soon. I think that's a few
Mm-hmm.
years down the line until we figure out our culture and figure out how
Mm-hmm.
which players are going to stick and make a run with us. But to be honest,
Right.
I mean, look, who is that right now? We can't point to one specific individual, and some say it's Randall, but there's so many different ways you can go, because you could probably get a lot more for Randall than you can for RJ, and RJ has the bigger upside. So because he's younger, but right now
Yeah.
the stock is where the stock is. The stock is on Randall. You could get probably a player and a draft pick for Randall right now. It won't be a marquee player, but it could be a player. Now you would have to give up some draft picks with Randall if you wanted a marquee player, right? So
Right.
it's all depending on what's out there in the market, and who's reaching out to the Knicks front office and asking about our players. Remember when I talked about this could be potentially a showcase game for us, and potentially we
Um.
could be showcasing Alec Burks.
Right.
That's still a potential too.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I look at it like this team, if they don't go out there and get themselves some type of floor general, a guy who can pass the ball and get guys open, he doesn't have to be, he don't got to be, I want Chris Paul like. He don't have to be Chris Paul like, though. All he's got to be able to do is dribble, drive, and dish. Be able to be fast enough to get into the paint, break down his defender, and then if he can do that, then he can score, right?
Right.
And then he can command the double team or at least command the closeout, which allows him to pass to somebody open. That's all we need. You know, I like Quickly, and I know he's
Mhm.
working on stuff and he's getting better at that stuff. But Quickly, also, let's not forget, guys. I don't know, if you notice this too much. Quickly is a very good outside shooter, but look at his game when he goes into the paint. Look at him when he goes on a fast break. If he's met with resistance, he's not a great finisher, and he's an overhand finisher. He's not an underhand finisher. Those underhand finishers can do a lot more. They can adjust and do. He's not. It's not his game. He's an overhand finisher, which makes it a little bit more difficult. So he's got to do
Right.
little floaters and other things to score close. So when you need a point guard who can break it down and get a layup, like not just a jump shot. He's got to be able to get a layup too. Those are the guys that are good orchestrators and get get the offense moving the way we need it. We're not getting that right now. And then outside of that, obviously we do need some type of perimeter defender, 3-and-D type guy. We need something. It's got to come from somewhere. Um, we'll see. We'll see. White Falcon says, Boost Mobile, it's been 50 years. We can't seem to get a superstar after Melo left. I mean, You ain't lying, bro. You are not lying about that.
Well, when Melo came, we had two, right? Because Stoudemire was still a star at the time, and so was Melo. So we had our duo, and then we brought in Chandler, and Chandler was going to be that different, and it was a good look. Just injuries played a part, injuries, and then poor management became a part of this whole debacle. You know what I mean? We had an opportunity there, and we didn't take advantage of it. Again, not to say they would have won against the Heat because the Heat had a stacked team at the time, but
Right.
we would have been able to grow into something, as the years went by if we were healthy, but we couldn't stay healthy. And then, started the media is the biggest thing here in New York City, right? Once the media gets going and they start to get the trashing of players and they start to trash the coaching and the front office and then the ownership, it just becomes a whirlwind. You know what I mean? And it takes a life of its own. We don't need that. And that's why it's important that
We
Coach
nope.
Tibbs, Leon Rose keeps everything internal. Don't spill no beans. No, like, let it be known from the jump. Hey, we're running this team. You guys are our players. If it's not a good fit, we'll let you know. Whether you're surprised about it or not, they have to have the final say.
Yeah. And Boost Mobile says the White Falcon, Obi's motor is top three in this team, and our coach doesn't let players get burned. And that's a fact. Like for whatever reason, he there's something about, look, I don't know if it's on the defensive end. I don't see it too much, but I don't know what like Tibbs could be a robot. Maybe he sees certain things that
Mm-hmm.
Obi's not doing that they go over in practice that he's not happy with in extended minutes. So he
Mm-hmm.
gives him enough time to energize the team and energize the game, and then he pulls him back. Or maybe he says, you know what, Obi is so much of an energizer, I gotta keep him and save him from himself. Like, cause once he gets to a certain point and he burns out, then you don't get that same energy, and then his value is not as good. Maybe that's it. Because one thing I could say, Obi is literally the. I mean, I don't know if he's the fastest guy on our team, but his energy makes him seem like he is. He is going mile and miles and miles a minute, and for him to
Mm-hmm.
do that 25 minutes a night, I don't see it. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's why he's only been getting 15 minutes or so, if that. Like, but I still think he needs to play 20 minutes a night. I think he needs more minutes because the one thing about Obi is he's a basketball player. Like, it's not like he's just running up and down the court for nothing. He's scoring. He's giving us opportunities to get, easy baskets. And if we had a point guard that looked for him, because every time Obi does this, he's open. Okay. That means I'm going to go get it. Just throw it. But they're not catching him all the time, or they're not looking for him because he's like a piece of code that's not right. You got your offensive
Right.
structure and you got everything set up, and OB's that little piece of code, like, oh man, what's that guy doing? So they're not ready for
Mm-hmm.
him sometimes. And it's a problem for us. That's why we got to change our offensive dynamic, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would have to say you're right about that. But it's also, within the flow of a game. You have. It's not something that Tibbs has ever been good at figuring out. I mean, this is one of the reasons why he hasn't
Right.
won a championship as a coach. I
That's
mean,
true.
he's
That's
a head
true.
coach who hasn't won a championship but has all the accolades, right? But he's also had a young Derrick Rose, and a winner in Joakim Noah, right? He had an upcoming budding star in
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler, right? Like, so he's had good players over the years. Even when he
Right.
went to Minnesota, Cat Anthony Towns is legit top, I don't know, five center in the league, you could say. Some could argue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's had talent around him. He just hasn't been able to win. But one thing he does do is he holds his players accountable. He teaches the game the right way, right? And he's
Right.
defensive minded, right? And that's what we need. We need the coaches shift first. And so for all the folks that said we need to run him out of New York, I say take a chill pill, relax, give us some time. We're probably not going to win a championship. If you're looking for a championship, you're looking a little too soon. Let's wait and see what this front office can do. See if we can bring in some players. If we can get a budding star within the next 3 to 5 years, then we make that move away from Tibbs. But the reality is, we have to build a good culture first, and a consistent culture of winning ball games. And if we can't do it with Tibbs, we're not going to be able to do it with a Coach Fizdale or Jeff Hornacek or even, for that matter, Phil Jackson. We've had everyone. We've had the winningest coach in the NBA in Phil Jackson, and he couldn't get us to the promised land. Come on. Let's get it together, guys. I mean, Knicks fans, we have to be realistic. It's just not what not everyone is built to coach in New York. Not every player is built to play in New York. We just got to find the right mix of players. And right now, it doesn't look like we have the right fit.
This is true. There's definitely some things that we're looking for, and I don't know where we're going to find them or if we're going to find them. Mm-hmm. But I know December 15th is coming up on us quicker than I thought it would. And maybe help is on the way. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I tell you one thing. I bet you the Knicks fans are not going to be happy. I bet you that, because I have a feeling that if the Knicks make a move, they're not going to be happy with who goes. There's going to be something that's going to upset some people, man. So.
Oh yeah. Listen, it's just inevitable, right? When you start off as hot as we started off, we were 5-1. Then we started losing. Right. We were 5-1 to start the season. Then we start losing games here and there. Games that we should have won, by the way, because we played 2 against Orlando that we should have gotten both those games, and that right there should have been a telltale sign for things to come, because those games pretty much showed us where we at. And we looked at that and said, nah, that can't be, right? Because the way we started out the season. But this really is what it is. We're a 500 team right now. We aren't playing better or worse. Can we make the playoffs this way? Absolutely, we could. Can we get a 50 burger? Absolutely not. But we'll be in contention for a playoff spot, right? Like we'll be maybe 42 wins, maybe somewhere around that. Maybe 40 gets you in. Who knows? But you'll be an 8 seed, 7 seed.
I'm not gonna say we can't get that 50 burger. It's the
window
is closing. The window is closing. Yeah.
But if you would look at the team that we see now today, there's no way.
No way. But I think we're gonna make a move. I don't know what that move is gonna be, or maybe moves. But I think something's gonna change, because I have that feeling that the organization is going to want to save face. The front office is going to want to show that they have been doing something, because now people are questioning the front office, like what have they actually done since they've been here. Now you've got Tibbs a little bit, and he's not on the hot seat, but he's on the media fan hot seat, like, you know what I mean? So they're going to want to do something kind of to turn this thing around and go back to the media darlings of last year, like, oh, the upset kids, like, so. And look, the other thing is, look what's going on in the league. Houston Rockets have just won 6 in a row. Like, what? Mm-hmm. After losing so many games in a row, they've won 6 in a row. Go figure.
But there's the one thing you can say about that team. They have some young talent, right?
They do.
And we do as well. We just don't use them, right? And this has been the argument for a lot of people, right? So here's the thing. If we make a move, right? My biggest concern is, do we make the move with seasoned players, or do we make moves where we're moving and moving on from young players, which would then come back to haunt us? Like, I would hate for a Deuce to be traded away from us, as he's being seen by everyone in the G League and putting up numbers. He gets traded and then comes back to haunt us. I would hate for that to happen, because Tibbs likes his vets.
Yeah,
that's the reality,
and that's actually worrying me. That's worrying me. And
I can see a team.
Knicks have to.
Yeah, I can see a team.
No, I was going to say that's where the Knicks have to stop Tibbs from Tibbs.
Yes, and I can see a Kemba a team would take Kemba to play off the bench if they could get a Deuce McBride.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll take that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I'm like, I got
Right.
this young kid waiting in the wings. And what better
And he doesn't
mentorship than someone, you know what I mean?
and he doesn't have a big contract. Like,
Yeah.
if they gotta take on that $8 million, okay, yeah, whatever.
So
But we
what?
got Deuce. Deuce could be our guard
Right.
over the future or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I
Exactly.
hear you, man. I hear you.
Exactly.
That's what
That's my
worries me.
biggest
And
concern.
I'm worried about that. You know what? I got a scenario. You might like it, you may not like it. But it's the only way I would want to do it.
Right.
If you tell me that the Knicks can move, if the Knicks can move Fournier, and I'm not saying I want to trade Fournier, but when you hear who I'm asking for in return, you'll be surprised, and then you understand it would, might have to take that. Knicks can move Fournier, Knox, a couple picks, whatever, maybe first round picks, and then you got to make a decision. You got to make a decision who's going to go, because one of these guys is going to go, whether it's RJ, whether it's OB, whether it's Quickly. One of these guys is probably. Would they take Burks? I don't know if they take Burks. I mean, maybe Burks has to go, but like one of these guys, because he used to be there before. And if I don't know. One of these guys has to go in a package deal that would bring you Ben Simmons. Now, I'm not. If Ben Simmons is going to be here on this Knicks team, which I'm not happy about, I would only be. We have to keep Randall, right? Mm-hmm. And then we keep the other core pieces. I know one of these young guys is going to have to go as well. And maybe Deuce is able to come up and be the scoring part of our point guard scenario and the defensive part of it. Ben Simmons can still be the orchestrator, right? Because we know he can score in the paint for the most part. He used to be able to, but we know he can't shoot. So we definitely need somebody to score some baskets outside of Randall. But I would do that. But you got to keep Randall, because I can't have this team as it is. We're already lacking scoring, and I know that Ben Simmons probably puts us in better positions because he'll facilitate better, but he's a liability. How many guys are going to allow this guy to get into the lane? Good teams with good defenders, this guy can't shoot. You're just going to play off of him and force him to shoot, and that's going to hurt our team. So we got to keep Randall, if you want to bring Ben Simmons in here. And I'll deal with the other issues that he may bring if that's the case. But I got to keep some of these. I got to keep Deuce. I got to keep Grimes, and one of these guys, OB, RJ, one of these guys got to stay. That's the way I'll do it, because I know somebody else has got to go. But I got to keep some of these dudes.
Well, I'll tell you, for Ben Simmons, the only person that's staying is Jericho Sims. I'm just saying. They're going to try to get everyone they could potentially get for Ben Simmons. Not to mention, it's not a good fit because the money isn't right. We can't take up that salary, right? So off the top, you have to get rid of Fournier's 40. You got to get away from Julius's 40 just to make up some of that income. Like, you know what I mean? And that's
because but you could do Fournier's 20 per year, 19 something, right? And Burks is 10. So that's 30.
What is Simmons making?
He's 40. He's 40. So
but what he's expected to get, he's expected to get something else after the season.
Oh no! But once you got him under the team, then you can just pay him. You know what I mean? You could pay him whatever you want once he's on your team. But we got to get him here first, right? So It doesn't take that much to bring him in. It's all about what will Philly want in return, and that's the key. Like our draft picks. I think our draft picks are more valuable to Philly because Philly has gotten rid of a lot of draft picks. So a team like that might want some draft picks.
What does their team look like now, right? You got to look. They're an Embiid run team with Tobias Harris. What are the other key players on that team, right?
Maxey,
right? They got Maxey. So Maxey's really a 2 guard, right? He's not really a 1. He's like a combo mix, right? So you're not going to ask for Quickly. So that's out of the question. What do you need to match with him is the question. You're going to need a Grimes. You're gonna need, you get what I'm saying. You're gonna need a Barrett. So now you're not chasing a Fournier because you're not looking for shooters because they're a different sort of team. They have shooting when they have Curry. You know what I mean? They got Curry there who could shoot lights out. They got a few other guys who could shoot lights out. They ain't gonna need that. So you got to look at what they're gonna ask for in the mix of what their team looks like now and what they're trying to do as they move forward within the year. They want to win the division. They don't want to lose it. So handing off
But
Knox ain't gonna do nothing for that team. They don't want Knox. That's the thing. We as Knicks fans want to give him our garbage. It's not gonna happen. Knox hasn't proven himself. He played what? But 8 minutes? Maybe? Did he even play 8 minutes? Probably played
I
five
don't know if it
minutes.
was even that, man. I
And
don't
hit
know if it was
one
even that.
three. And he hit 1 3. Like, is that enough for a team to be like, yes, sell me on Kevin Knox?
Oh,
It's not gonna
wait,
happen.
but hold on. Maybe, but then again, there's the other side too. Because remember, this could happen. The other thing is we could trade them Fournier. We could give them Burks because Burks would be a good player for that team. They could use him in all types of ways. And he used to be there, I think, at one point, right? But they could take him back. He would definitely help them. And we could give them Kemba. Hold on. We could give them Kemba. And even if they don't want to use Kemba like that, we would also have to throw in one of these young players, whoever it is. And maybe we do something a little crazy and give them a lot more picks than we would want to give a team to make it happen. And then they
Yeah.
could take those players and flip those players somewhere else to get other commodities that they want, or use those picks and some of those players to get something else that they want. So it could still happen, or it could be a 3-team trade.
That was what I was about to say. It could be a three team trade where it's like the overall scheme is like Ben Simmons finds his way to New York, Damian Lillard finds his way, actually Ben Simmons finds
Oh,
his way
interesting.
to Damian Lillard finds his way to New York, Ben Simmons finds his way to Portland, so on and so forth. So there could be some of that
It
going
could be
around in
something like that. It could
conversations.
be something like
You know
that.
what I mean? But it's gonna take a lot of
It is going to
it's gonna
take a
take a
lot. I know.
nice
I know. I
handful of
just don't know who
players.
it's going to be.
You know what I mean?
You're
And
right.
and
You're
that's what
right.
I'm saying. Like for us is like like we could throw anything in the sky and make it land. It's not reality. The reality is we have to wait and see. You know what I mean? That's why the rumor mills are so high right now because everybody's putting in their 2 cents. Even Stephen A talked about, Lillard's potential spot not being with the Sixers and being with the Knicks. It's like, come on, man. You got every journalist talking about the Knicks need a new piece and who is it going to be and who's going to be moved. It's like something's bound to happen. We just don't know what. It could be.
Right.
It could be. It could be. You know how crazy this would be, but it could be like, who's the shooter from Sacramento? You like him a lot.
Oh,
What's his name?
the shooting guard, you mean?
What was his name? He's a
Buddy Hield?
shooter. Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hield?
It could be Buddy Hield coming to our squad for 2 players. You know what I mean? That could be
Mhm.
potentially like Fournier and someone else. You know what I mean? And then we have to see what the chemistry looks like. It could be as minimal as something like that. You know, I just could the Knicks look to try to swing something with Sacramento for De'Aaron Fox or because they have multiple point guards over there. Halliburton, who's a favorite of mine,
Yeah.
is he even playing? I haven't heard much of him this year. Is he injured?
I mean, look, he's been playing.
He's been
They've
playing.
just been quiet. Sacramento's in flux over there. But don't get
Yeah,
me wrong, dude. I'd even still be okay with trading with Sacramento and getting Harrison Barnes from them, getting
yeah. Getting
Harrison
two
Barnes,
players from them.
getting Bagley, and
Yeah,
maybe seeing if we could steal the point guard that they drafted that we wanted from Butler.
Halliburton. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
not
we were talking
Halliburton.
about
The young guy.
I don't know who
I
that
no,
player
I
is.
can't think of his name. Killing me.
Yeah, because they have 3 guards. Yeah.
They have 3 guards now, and I wouldn't see. To me, that would be a nice little thing of the future for that to be our three guards. Quickly, if Quickly stays, Quickly,
Right.
Deuce, and that guy. And that,
Right.
those are young guys for the future that can ball and can grow
Mm-hmm.
into their roles. And then you got the point guard situation set. That would be nice to
Right.
me. Yeah. Let me just give a quick shout out to my man, Big Task at Hand. Appreciate you, bro. Nah, you
All right.
never late, man.
Salute.
Appreciate you, man. Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
joining.
tuning in. And we appreciate all y'all out there who have tuned in. This was kind of a last minute thing. Normally we have a pre-recorded show, but we were trying to figure things out and make it happen on the fly. So thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, man, let me just pull up this this Sacramento roster. And so what did you think about our effort? We already kind of touched on it a little bit, but our effort versus Denver. Not how we got blown out, but our effort. Because there's a lot of, I don't know if you've seen, there's a lot of memes, or not memes, but there's a lot of videos going around on the internet showing our lack of effort in that Denver game. It's bad. It's bad.
It's weird. It's like when I was watching it, I didn't really see a lack of effort. What I seen was no consistency. No consistency within the offense. No consistency in the rotation on defense. It's like we were trailing every play on the defensive side. And that to me is like just like a mix for disaster, right? You're not gonna, if you're always trailing a play, then the next pass is always going to be there for the other team. And that's what it looked like when they played against Denver. Denver went into their sets early, swung the ball, made the right plays. They have an MVP, superstar in Jokic who could do so many different things really, really well. He plays within himself. He's not, rushing in his game. He's taking his time. He's making right decisions, and we end up getting the complete opposite approach in Julius Randle, where he felt like he was pressing, what I mean, trying to make things happen and force things to happen. You can't play that
Right.
way. You gotta play within yourself. And he is our best player. Don't get me wrong. He is our best player to this point, to date. But I'm looking at it like he's probably got too much on his plate. I'm looking at it like if we just ask Randall to go out and score and rebound, we'll have a legit all-star with no pressure on him. Maybe that's the road. Maybe Tibbs needs to take it away from Randall to be the decision maker and allow him to do what he does best, and score and rebound. Right? Don't ask him to do anything else, and ask for someone like a Fournier to take on that role, because Fournier plays that role when he plays in Spain. You know what I mean? Or maybe or maybe you ask RJ, or a cross between the two. But RJ's really poor. He's been horrible shooting the ball this year. And Coach Tibbs blasted him for it. He said, hey, last year you were out there shooting and you were making shots after you came to the gym at night. Maybe you need to get back to doing that. You know what I mean? So that was sort of in your window. Like, you ain't putting in the same type of effort you did the year before. Reason why your game ain't the same. You know what I mean? Also,
and
you
I'm
have
gonna
Rose.
Say,
Rose could be that guy. Rose could be that guy.
Yeah.
We keep forgetting. Everybody keeps saying, we have one player in Randall, but we have no Batman to him. We have no Robin to Batman. Derrick Rose can be 1A and 1B. He's just not the same player he was in the past, but he still can score in bunches if you need him to. He gets to the basket easy. He passes the ball really good off the pick and roll. The problem is there's no rotation offensively. There's no offensive rotation. When you see those guys as they're standing around, they don't know what to find an open spot to get the pass. He has a pass within while he's in the air, and that's another thing. So one thing I dislike about the Rose's game is that he loves jumping to pass. He loves it. It's what he does. He does that all the time. I'm like, man, just make the pass. Don't have to jump.
Right.
So
right. Yeah, man. And I did research that real quick. The player I was talking about was Davion Mitchell. That's the guard from
Mitchell.
Sacramento.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would love that.
Davion Mitchell. I like that play. Yeah.
Um, and
I actually
big
like that
shout
more
out
than
to
Halliburton.
me too, because there's just something about the way he plays, that grittiness on defense, and he's even better on defense than Deuce is.
Right.
So, and that's saying something because Deuce has shown
Yeah.
some nice flashes of stuff. Salute to Supreme System Lord, my man Chop Low. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
for tuning in. He's been here. You know, he's definitely showed up for us, man. Always appreciate you, brother. But yeah, man, I think I wasn't expecting you to be here. I'm glad you were able to make
I
it.
was
So I guess it's
trying to
time.
make my way.
I guess it's time to touch the stuff that I don't want to touch, and
Ugh.
that's the prediction stuff, man. I don't want to see it, but maybe it's time. Maybe it's time. And yeah, big task at hand. Yo, listen, we'll definitely try, brother. We'll definitely try. If we can do it, maybe we'll figure something out, some type of schedule that can work for us. But we'll get back to you on the more live stuff as opposed to pre-recorded. We'll see.
Yeah, sorry, Knicks Nations, man. I'm a busy man with lots of children and a lot of travel. I am doing my best.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Whoa. You hear that?
I hear it.
Uh-oh.
What's up, fellas?
Hey,
What's going on?
Jose?
Not much. I was seeing Ron sweat, but luckily John joined us, so Ron, you don't have to sweat anymore. You're good.
That's right.
But it is time for everyone's favorite segment. This week's prediction. And what's special about this week is that we actually have 4 games coming up.
Nice.
I believe, John, you went first last week. So, Ron.
Appreciate that.
Oh, man. I jumped out the window. Uh-oh.
Remember in the old school when your computer had a malfunction?
Yeah.
Let's just say your predictions.
Oh, snap. Yeah. Come on, Jose. Don't do me that bad, man. Don't do me that bad, bro.
Make your predictions.
That was a doozy.
All right. So Knicks versus Spurs, Knicks versus Pacers, Knicks versus Raptors, and then the Bucks versus the Knicks at the Garden. So the first 3 games are on the road. Ugh.
We play better on the road.
Knicks versus. We have been playing better on the road. So Knicks versus Spurs, I'm going to go with the Knicks. And this is kind of funky because I know the Spurs could win this game easily, but I think the Knicks have lost 3 in a row and they want to stop the bleeding. So I expect maximum effort in this game, and hopefully we click it on all cylinders. Then Knicks versus Pacers. For whatever reason, I just feel like if the Knicks come to play basketball, we can beat the Pacers. So I'm going with the win for the Knicks. Knicks versus Raptors. This is a revenge game for us. So I'm going with the Knicks. And this one is a little iffy because they may have the sum of all their parts over there. This may be tough. But I'm going to take a flyer on this one. I'm going to say the Knicks win only because it's the revenge game and we lost last time. So we got to come out with that effort and win. And this is all surprising because I said we need different things on this team. How do I expect them to win these games? I don't know, but I'm going for it. And then the Bucks versus the Knicks at the Garden. I'm going to say the Bucks win this game.
You know what's so crazy? I have the same exact picks.
No, really?
I really do. I think we go on a little run here. We get 3, and then we lose to the Bucks because they're just a better team. But I think the toughest game outside of the Bucks, the closest game we're going to play is against the Raptors. I think that's the one that's going to be like, man, it's going to be neck to neck, and we're going to have to find a way to claw a win out. And I think the Bucks are just a better team than us.
Yeah, I know.
All right,
But this is where we at.
All right.
You made your predictions. Both of you have the same exact predictions. So
yeah,
Ron,
it's gonna be fun next week. Hopefully, we're right.
Ron, do you lock it in?
Let's lock it in.
John, do you lock it in?
Man, it hurts to say this, but yes, I locked it in. We better be tied next week.
All right, gentlemen. It's locked in.
Yes, sir.
All
right.
I don't want to reveal the scores from last week unless you want to. You let me know. If
I always
not,
want
Well,
to.
let me ask you this.
Yes.
Is there a winner and a loser?
Of course.
Oh, all the time.
Okay, so then you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it.
You sure? All righty.
Ron, positive
Yeah,
energy,
man.
baby. Let's go.
Nah, let's go. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for.
Taking my
We
crown
had
back.
3 games last week. Each of these gentlemen made a prediction. The question is, who came out on top? With a score of just one right prediction, this week's prediction, king of prediction is...
Just one right.
And look, guys. I don't know if any of you tuned in last week, but look how it worked fine this week when John wins. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man.
But
Whatever.
last week we had
It was
technical
only one right.
difficulties. However, I need to be fair. I did something last week that I've never done before. So, John,
Yeah.
party it up. Congratulations.
Oh man, get out of here.
Thank you.
You only won by 1, which means
That's right.
75%
takes
of your
one.
predictions were horrible.
It only takes one. It only takes one.
100% of your predictions were bad. Until next week,
Hey,
gentlemen.
listen, you can't win them all.
Take care.
Thank you, Jose.
So true.
Appreciate
Thank you, Jose.
You can't win them all, guys. You cannot win them all. Sometimes you're gonna make picks and it don't work out. Just gonna have to deal with it.
That's right. And that's why we
salute
don't
to
play
my
the
man
Vegas
Canal.
odds.
That's why I stay away from gambling, because I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm not good at this.
Not good at it.
Salute to my man Canal. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Salute. Yeah, man. So I mean,
shout
it
out
is
to
what
Nick
it is.
Nations,
Look,
man, for joining us today, man. Appreciate all of y'all. Word.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I know there wasn't much. This, like I said, it happened quick. There wasn't much promo for you guys to understand that the show was coming at a certain time. It happened real quick, and thank you for jumping on. But you know, in classic Nick faction, you know, sometimes things don't happen the way you expect it to happen. But you know what? In the end, you know what? We're all winners, right? Because we came out, we did the show, we showed up, man, and that's what our Knicks are going to do in these next 4 games. They're going to show up. I'm telling you, I believe it. You know, I'm like Blue Magic. That's a name. It's a brand. I respect. I put my name on it.
Could you imagine if the Knicks shift is one of Kevin Knox? Should I say it? Can you imagine if that was the case? If they said we're going to place Kevin Knox in the starting lineup alongside Randall and Barrett and Burks? Could you imagine that?
That would be nuts. That would be nuts. I mean, I will tell you this, though.
Well,
if there was
Taj Gibson,
it's not going to happen.
And Taj is the center. That'll be a weird lineup.
I think, you know what I think.
Never say never.
You're right. I think what's going to happen is, I think Quickly is going to be inserted into the starting lineup, and I think RJ is going to go to the bench
and run with the bench unit.
Yeah, I think Quickly is going to run the point, and they're going to move Burks to the 2 guard or 3 guard. It doesn't matter. 2 or 3, and Fournier will be the other one, right? But I think that's what's going to happen. And I think they'll put RJ on the bench, so RJ can start getting loose again with the bench players and get back to kind of the way he's been playing basketball in the past. And I think RJ's strong enough to take it. He's still young enough to take it. He hasn't done anything in this league yet. So I think that's what's going to wind up happening. And I think that was the writing on the wall with Tibbs saying what he said about RJ. Now, I said this earlier, John. You weren't here when I said it. I don't necessarily think he was throwing RJ under the bus solely. I think he was talking to the team, but he used RJ because he knows RJ has that nature, that will, that he can take the criticism and not let it affect him. Whereas there's other sensitive cats on this Knicks team. So I think he used RJ. He was talking about RJ. He wasn't exonerating him. He's a part of it. But I think he was also kind of talking to the rest of the team. Whether your name was called or not, I'm looking at you just like I'm looking at RJ. So I think that's what it was. I know people don't like it, and I probably think it could have been done in a different way, but Tibbs is Tibbs, so he decided to do whatever he did.
Hey, Ron, sure. If it helps you sleep at night, if you want to believe that, sure thing.
That's what I'm going with, man.
That's what you. Okay.
I like it. Yeah. Let me get this one, John.
Yeah,
Come on,
all
man.
I know
Let me get this one.
Listen, he said what he said. That's all I know. He said what he said.
He did say what he said.
And he meant it.
That's right. Big Test, that he knows exactly where I'm going. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. Right. I stand by that. Salute once again to everybody. Salute to my man Soulfinger in the chat. Let's go, Soulfinger. What's going on, brother? Soulfinger says, look, things rough right now, but I still believe it will all come together like bunchies. In the words of Soulfinger. He's the only man who could say it so eloquently. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it will come together. We'll get it back to where it needs to be. But I still think we need some moves though. In order to sustain it, we're gonna have to make some moves. But can we play better basketball and win a couple games to kind of stop the bleeding? Yeah. But in order to sustain this type of play, we need to make some changes. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I thank you guys for all tuning in. I appreciate you. Some of you who may have joined late, I'm sorry, but the show's about to end. But definitely thank you for coming on and checking us out. I was off and on today. I was working through things, but I was also on Freezy, and that was a 6-hour show, man. Let me tell you something. That was a long show. But we definitely had a lot to talk about. There was a lot of great conversation there. So yeah, definitely. If you haven't seen it, if you want to look at it, that show is 6 hours. So that's the type of show that you want to tell us. You put that show on in the background and just go about your business, because that's a long show. But definitely listen, if you haven't caught up to speed with some of our Still Knicks fans content, definitely check out what we've done recently. Obviously, we know we do the weekly recap and prediction show on Mondays or Tuesdays whenever it airs. Today it's airing on the Monday. We have the NBA report that's going to be this week Thursday, because the Knicks play on Wednesday, so it'll go back to our original time of 8 p.m. on Thursday night. And if you haven't seen our new series that we've just launched, definitely check it out. It's great, man. I think it's one of the things that I'm really excited about, which is the interview with your favorite content creator. Our first episode was with Simeon Russell of the Nothing But Knicks Network, and he dropped some gems, different things that he has gone through as being a content creator and kind of what led him to us as a content creator. So it's definitely something to go watch and take a look at. It's a real good listen. And then the newest episode was this past Sunday with our man Uncle Freezy from the Blorange Tears network, and he dropped some really good gems as well. It was really nice to chop it up with Freezy. I learned some things about him that I didn't know. So it was a good one as well. Unfortunately, there was some technical difficulties in the beginning, but as the show went on, we got past that, and it was just good content. So definitely go take a look at that, guys, if you haven't. It's a real good look. Shout out to JJP NYC. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in. So John, man, listen, any final words, brother?
Yeah, before my internet breaks out because I'm getting a storm over here where I'm at.
Yeah, it's a Stallman.
um,
It's Stallman.
yeah. Shout outs to everyone for joining us, and thank you, Ron, for being patient with me and looking out because I was definitely trying to get here in time. And I'm sorry if I made any made you guys pull your hair out the little that you guys have. I'm sure that was tough. Um,
Nah, man,
Listen,
no
I,
problem.
I'm always appreciative to being on with you guys, and you know what I mean. This was fun, man. Thanks for allowing me the opportunity. Shout outs to everybody on the chat. Shout outs to Nick Nations. Let's see if we can get a couple of wins in a row. Allow us to feel better about our team, and hopefully we can figure things out as we move along into December and things start to um, a little bit. Maybe that picture that seems to be unnoticeable becomes a little bit more noticeable for us in the future. See what we plan on bringing this team to, or bringing in as far as free agents, or maybe trades that may come in our direction. But yeah, looking forward to the rest of the season, man. Like I said, I'm I'm still excited. I'm not jumping off the ledge already. I'm not jumping off just yet. I think we still got something. I think we still building. I think we're still going in the right direction. So let's tune in, man. Shout outs to everybody. Peace, love, and respect, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree with you. And that's the thing. Listen, no problem, bro. We hold each other down. We pick each other up. That's what we do. That's what the Knicks got to do too. And that's like still Knicks fans. It's like Pepsi.
That's
It's a
right.
brand name, and I stand by that. So thank you guys for tuning in once again. I appreciate all y'all. Thank you to my man Jose on the ones and twos.
That's right. Jose in the house. In the building.
Let's go, Jose. Yeah, man. And thank you guys once again for tuning in on the chat. I appreciate y'all. You know what? Just keep following us. We'll keep giving you that good content. Don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend who tells another friend. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're notified for all notifications. That's how you get to find out whenever we're dropping new content. Don't just hit the notification bell. Make sure you click on the all. That's important. And yeah, thank you as always for tuning in. This is Ron and John. We out of here.
Peace.